Hey there, welcome back to my channel. Today's video is going to be a look that I did recently, or tutorial for a look that I did recently when I was out in LA for an event, an SK2 event. If you follow me on Instagram, you probably saw some pictures out there. It was like an SK2 event for one of their new launches, and Kate Blanchett, the actress, was there, and it was a ton of fun. And I did this really simple look, and it lasted for like, I put it on at like 9 a.m. and still it was going strong by like 5 p.m. So some of the stuff is products that I've used in the past, and then some are kind of new discoveries. One of the products I'm actually trying for the first time on camera, so you'll be able to get my first, my thoughts and first impressions, and it's the It Cosmetics Superhero Mascara. So curious to give that a go. Alright, so my skin is all prepped and ready to go, so let's get started. Get my hair out of the way here. And the foundation I'm going to use is a old foundation that launched last year, but I brought it with me because it's one of my favorite foundations for very long wearing, for being on for a very long time. It stays matte for almost the entire day. And it is the La Mercier Smooth Finish Flawless Fluid. And this is in the shade Cream. And like I'll put the picture from my Instagram. I'll try to insert it in the video if I can, right here. Okay, so the foundation is the La Mercier Smooth Finish Flawless Fluid, and like I said, in the shade Cream. And it gives pretty substantial coverage. So it's definitely not a sheer foundation. I would say it is probably along the lines of a more medium coverage, and which is good because I'm breaking out a little bit on the side of my face here, like hormonal breakouts. And yes, no matter what products that I have to help with breakouts, there's very few products that really help me kind of like treat my really bad hormonal breakouts. Sometimes I just have to like be patient and wait for my hormones to like go back to normal. So this foundation, like I said, the shade is, this is part of when Laura Mercier kind of, this is one of her first foundations that she kind of launched last year. Was it in the new kind of color range, or I think that's what happened. She launched this foundation last year and kind of the colors changed with this one. So I have a different shade in the Candle Glow, or the Candlelight Glow foundation, and that one is a little dark. I should have stuck with this shade, which was Cream, but the paler shades in Laura Mercier's foundations, or at least the ones that have launched within the past year or so, are very hard to figure out. I've had some challenges kind of figuring out what shade I am. I think I'm the shade Cream, but because I like the way this looks on me. It is very, very yellow and quite pale, but it tends to look the nicest out of all the shades that I've tried, and it doesn't oxidize too much, which is good. Okay, so like I said, it's quite a pale shade, but it does match my neck like exactly. And it does last for a very, very long time. All right, for concealer, I'm going to pull out an old favorite. Well, not that old. It only launched like a year or two ago. It's the Charlotte Tilbury Retoucher in the shade Fair. So a lot of people liken this to kind of like a Touche Eclat, though, which is more of a highlighter than it is concealer, the YSL Touche Eclat. And it is more of a highlighter than a concealer, the YSL one, that is. But some people have likened this to it because it is very radiant and bright under the eyes. And like I said, I have it in the shade Fair. I find that this is much heavier than the YSL Touche Eclat. I mean, I worked for YSL for many years, so I'm very familiar with, like 7 years, YSL Beauty. So I'm very familiar with the Touche Eclat. And that is definitely more of like a brightener for under the eyes rather than a true concealer. I find that the Charlotte Tilbury one that I'm wearing is a true concealer. And it definitely, gives some really good coverage while still brightening up under the eye. I forgot, I've been using some other concealers and testing other concealers out, and I forgot how much I love that concealer. So it's highly worth checking out if you have not tried it. This is the new Makeup Forever Pro Sculpting Brow Pen. I have it in the shade 20, so it has that similar kind of angled edge that Hourglass does, or a bunch of different brands now. Anastasia has one, Hourglass has one. They're all kind of doing this angled edge. The brows are all done. I really like this shade. It's very gray, which I've said before, I really like a gray-based pencil. And the formula is really smooth. It's not too, difficult to apply. It definitely has like a little bit of a waxy texture to it. All right, so for powder, I'm just going to powder down the middle of my face, though this foundation stays pretty matte. Pretty much all day long. So that's what I really love about it. But I'm using the Charlotte Tilbury Airbrush Flawless Finish pressed powder, which I just dusted the powder into my mouth. Oh my gosh. That's really funny. I was like talking as I was like powdering right around my mouth, and now I can't breathe. Okay, so I really enjoy this powder. It's a good touch-up powder throughout the day. I like it also as a setting powder in the morning, like when I'm getting ready. The only complaint I have with it, which is kind of a pain, if you're going to carry it around as a touch-up powder, just know it doesn't come with a powder puff, and it's really difficult to get one in here. So I have to like carry a powder puff separately in a little bag, which I find incredibly annoying, like a little Ziploc bag. I always like have to take it out, and it's just this whole thing. So that's the only downside about it, and I wish they would kind of add in a powder puff for taking it on the road, or having it on the go with you in your makeup bag. All right, I'm putting on my eyeshadow primer, Urban Decay Primer Potion. My NARS one, I finally finished it. I've had it forever, and I've said before, I just alternate between the two. I really love both of them. Primer Potion from Urban Decay and the NARS, the Smudge Proof eyeshadow primer. All right, the eyeshadow that I'm using is one that I recently reviewed and talked about and said how much I've loved. It's Pale Barley from Burberry. Everyone knows it, everybody loves it, or maybe don't know it, but it's a very popular shade from Burberry, and it's a really kind of muted taupey brown. There are swatches already on my blog, so I will go ahead and link that post below because I've already reviewed it on my blog about a month or so ago. And it's just such an easy color. Sometimes I find that kind of just a flat brown color can, with no shimmer to it, can be a little, you know what I mean? Like on the lid, it can just look a little boring or flat, but not Pale Barley. It really doesn't have like a ton of dimension because there's not a lot of shimmer to it, but it's not completely flat, but it's not highly shimmered either. So it's a perfect shade for a work environment. It's a perfect shade for the weekend. It is a perfect shade for any time, anywhere. And it's a really, some people said they prefer the old formulation of the Pale Barley. I have never tried the old formulation of the Pale Barley, so I can't weigh in. I love this one, so I'm gonna go on that. But the formula is very buttery, and it blends very easily. I'm just taking it up to the crease. I also like this shade, or taupe brown shades in general, because I can kind of put them in the crease as well, so it gives a little bit of depth. It looks as if there is a crease shade, because just from the angle of the, of your brow bone and everything, it creates that kind of shadow there, so it will look like the color's a little bit darker than it will on your lid. So I love using kind of taupe brown shades for that kind of look. Because it can create, you know, one color it'll look like on the lid and another color in the crease, even though it's the exact same color. So that is the color. It's very easy to wear. Like I said, it's a very subtle shade, but, you know, strong enough where you can definitely see it. You can hear Elmo itching and shaking all around, being annoying. He just like comes in and out of the room, like just in and out the whole time I'm doing my makeup. Okay, and then let's move on to mascara. The IT Cosmetics, what is it? Superhero mascara? So this is the brush. I am intrigued. It seems like I love a big, spiky brush. So like I said before, I have not tried this yet, so this is going to be my first time using it on camera. Wow, I really like it. It's really grabbing every lash. Wow. And it's definitely very dark, which I like as well. And it's really separating quite nicely, though it still is thickening at the same time, because obviously I love a separate lash, but I still want it to thicken up. And okay, I think I may stop at this. I haven't tested it out too much, so I think I'll kind of stop at that 3 coats so that I don't clump it up too much. But wow, it is a really beautiful, beautiful mascara. Oops. Smudge it on my finger there. The brush makes it very, very easy to apply because it's so long, and it really does grab every single lash, which I find really nice. Because I have a lot of lash, and I have quite long lashes, but if a brush really doesn't grab every single lash I have, then my lashes won't look as full as they could. I'm always better at like one eye with mascara than the other. Let me see if I can get up close so you can really see. So it's definitely a really beautiful, beautiful mascara. Curious to see how because it does feel a little bit like a wet formula, so I'm curious to see how it'll wear throughout the day and whether it will smudge. Most mascaras smudge on me. I've tried every single one known to mankind out there, and it's just the way my eyes are shaped. So I just kind of give up and try to find the ones that smudge the least. All right, cheeks. Of course, can't go, I have to bring out my staple, which is my Hourglass Ambient Lighting Palette. This is the 3 palette. I'm going to use dim light. A lot of people have asked me to kind of give tutorial of how I use these powders, so this is how I use it. I like to use dim light. I will also use, what other one is in here? Incandescent and Radiant Light. Incandescent's a little bit lighter. Dim light is the most perfect for me because I like to use it, like I've said before, as a slight contour. I find that on my pale skin, it is too dark to be as a highlight really, or as like kind of like a setting powder, but it definitely looks beautiful as a slight contour. I don't know if you can see that in the camera, but it's just very, very ever so slight. And for a blush, I pulled this out the other day and I forgot how much I loved it. It's the Too Faced, the Love Flush in Baby Love. So it's a really beautiful, neutral, peachy tone. And I just love that right on the cheeks here, right on the apples of the cheeks. It is quite pigmented, so I really kind of, I looked at the shade first and I was kind of like, all right, and I kind of dipped my brush in a little too much at the beginning, and I had like, when you like put it on your cheek and you just have like a ton of blush like right there. So I really have to kind of be light-handed with it. But I just take the brush that I just used for the Hourglass, and I can just kind of like buff it out. So like I said, it just gives a nice subtle neutral look to the cheeks. Nothing new here. Kind of what I always do. Okay, and then I'm going to do a highlighter today, which I love this one. I also have it in another shade, but this is the new Clé de Peau, the newer shade they just launched, the Luminizing Face Enhancer in the shade 15. So it's absolutely stunning. It is like a peachy shade. So it is, it has some color to it. So I do it a little bit on the cheekbone. It's really going to be hard to see it on camera, but because it is so slight. But the reason why I choose to wear, because it is so shimmery. I mean, this stuff is like glowy and like really, really shiny. I don't know if you can see that on camera, but there's a little bit of a glow right there. And the reason why I'll wear it with the look that I'm doing is because this foundation is so matte, and that way it helps to balance out the shimmer in the face luminizer or the highlight, especially when I'm wearing, I love to wear like a highlight, but if I'm wearing a really glowy foundation and I'm already so oily, it's a little too much for me. So it really gives just kind of a nice glow. I don't put it like way up on the top of the, cheekbone, but it's just a little bit over the cheeks and on the cheekbone at the same time, because it is, on me, it really is a significant color, rather than on maybe another person in a different skin tone, it may be more of a highlight, but on me it's, quite orange. So I need to put it on as a slight blush as well. All right, so that's pretty much the whole look. And then for the lips, oh my gosh, I brought this color out with me to LA and tried it out there, and I wore it the whole time I was there, and I loved it. It is such a beautiful shade. It is the new matte lip pencil from Nude Sticks. This is in the shade Belle. So, let me see. Real 90s kind of lip look, but not, I don't find it too dark for me. And it's just absolutely beautiful. I love a matte lip. Always have. Probably always will. I love the way it kind of just wears, and this is so comfortable too. They also made a red one called Royal that is to die for. And I believe these have already launched on Sephora. Okay, I think I went too far out of my lip line. Woo. It's like, I tend to, whenever if I use a lip liner, I never overline my lips, because on me it looks ridiculous. I tried to do it one time and I came to work, people were like, is there something wrong with and I was like, I tried to overline my lips, clearly I didn't do a good job. So this is the finished look, and like I said, I wore it when I was in LA, but I'm wearing a ton recently. I like the kind of, slightly matte. Pale Barley is a slight more matte than it is very shimmery, so I kind of like that slight matte eye with a little bit of a glow on the cheeks, and then a real matte lip, and then a real matte, very, very matte skin with the Laura Mercier Smooth Finish Flawless Fluid. And it stays quite matte throughout the day, so that's why I really cannot recommend this foundation enough. It's been a kind of a holy grail. It was my best of beauty from last year, and it's just been, ever since I tried it last year, I fell in love with it. Okay, so I will link all the products down below. So if you have any questions, feel free to leave me a comment, and I will talk to you soon. Okay, take care. Bye-bye.